Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today I want to talk about Detective Comics 1027 celebrating 1,000 issues of Batman, because of course DC needed another reason to celebrate. I've done videos on Detective Comics 1000 and Catwoman the 80th anniversary issue, and in both those videos I've talked about how DC really went all in on these anniversary issues. What started off with Action Comics 1000 and Detective Comics 1000 continued with, and get ready because here's the list: Wonder Woman 750, The Flash 750, then the 80th anniversary issues for Robin, Joker, Catwoman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Green Arrow, which was insane, Aquaman, and the latest, the 30th anniversary of Harley Quinn. That's 10 issues. Absolute madness, but of course they sell, so why not? On top of those 10 issues, here we have Detective Comics 1027, and I've got the variant covers by Adam Hughes and Stanley Arjam Lau. Detective Comics 1000 ended with a story by Peter J. Tomasi, and in a nice coincidence, because I don't really think they planned all that much, Detective Comics 1027 starts off with a story by Peter J. Tomasi, and like his previous one, this is basically just an excuse for the artist to go through Batman's rogues gallery, and it's wonderful. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Of course, the Batman villains definitely deserve the spotlight here. Absolutely great cast of characters, and it's nice when we get these kinds of stories. The ending is kind of weird and definitely didn't matter because, again, the whole point of this was to showcase the Rogues Gallery. The next story is one by Brian Michael Bendis, and it's such a nice contrast. Again, going back to Detective Comics 1000, we had a story by Tom King there where the whole Bat family gathered, and throughout that whole story they just bickered and argued amongst themselves like mean high school girls, which is what Tom King actually is. Well, here we have another story where the Bat family gathers, but this time they get to solve a murder together, and it's a very detective-like story, very fitting, of course, for this issue, and it's just wonderful seeing the whole team work together. This is how you do it. Again, Brian Michael Bendis had a very bad run with DC Comics. His work on Superman was very lackluster. His Justice League also. But I have to say, when it comes to these street level stories, he's great. I don't know why he doesn't focus more on these, because again, he really did an amazing job here. The next story is kind of weird. So we've got Matt Fraction as a writer with Chip Zdarsky as an artist, and the story is weird. The art is weird because it's kind of off. It's not bad per se, but it is off when you see it. I mean, just look at this, So the story is Batman telling us how every month of every year for the past, we see 22 years, Joker has given him a birthday present. Obviously, since it was every single month, it wasn't on his birthday, and that didn't matter because it was the fact that it happened constantly, again, for 22 years. Then 1 month, uh, he's not receiving his present, It's October 31st, and the Joker has done nothing. So, of course, they panic, they evacuate Gotham. It's only Batman and the Joker. And of course, Batman goes just crazy on him, starts yelling, "Give me my birthday present." And that's the punchline. It's just him and the Joker, and it's always gonna be just them. And here we see the final page with Bruce's actual birthday. Again, it was very weird, kind of off, but I liked it. I really did. We don't. Yes, we do see Batman fighting the Joker. We do see, oh, it's just gonna be us two forever and ever. But it's nice when they put this kind of a spin on it. The next one, just as great, Greg Rucka returning to Batman, doing what he does best, telling the story of this young cadet joining the GCPD and seeing all the corruption in Gotham, being very close to be swallowed up by it, trying to fight it, encountering endless troubles for it, but in the end, because this is a superhero comic, we need to have hope. In the end, there's Batman and there's Commissioner James Gordon, and we do need to look forward to the future because things are looking up. Again, Greg Rucka with his Gotham Central run, absolutely legendary. This feels like he never ended that run. It's really, really great. And by now, I think we start seeing a pattern for this issue of really strong stories. And we will see it just keeps on going. The next one, Ghost Story by James Tynion IV with art by Riley Rossmo. And I have to say, it's very funny to talk about this right now when Riley Rossmo is getting so much hate online for his art, but actually for the issues that he's been drawing lately. He's been on Harley Quinn by Stephanie Phillips, and that's been abysmal. He had a recent Robin issue, and that was pretty bad. And of course, since the writing for those issues is so lackluster, people, of course, are gonna take issue with his art as well. I'm not a fan of it myself, but I do get what he's doing. Of course, it's very stylized. It's his style. I mean, you can't mistake this for anything. And again, I do think the actual problem is the writers that he works with, because here you have James Tynion and his story, which is an absolute joy. The dead man asks for Batman's help to fight the Spectre Collector, a guy who found a way to make physical contact with the spirits of the dead, and he's just eating them. up just capturing these spirits, not letting them find their final resting place, It was very weird, especially in this issue after so many street level stories, very grounded stuff. We get this Batman fighting actual ghosts, Robin here being very afraid, but it was a nice change of pace. And again, James Tynion's writing really made for a great story. Riley Rasmus's art didn't seem all that bad here. I wonder why. Again, a great surprise and a great change of pace in this issue. Going back to the more street level, let's say boring stuff, Kelly Sue DeConnick writing 4. I don't know what to say about this story because I haven't read it, because Kelly here told me not to read any of her stories. Of course, I'm joking. I don't really care for that stuff, but honestly, I do wish I didn't waste my time with this, because this was actually boring. They just wasted JRJR here, and especially Klaus Janson. Come on, guys, you get him. First of all, doing just things, that's a waste. But second of all, drawing something so boring as this story. So this is just Bruce Wayne meeting with this guy who's trying to buy some property off of Bruce here. Bruce, of course, denies him, and the guy just goes all in, like, how dare you deny me? Do you know how many politicians and corrupt cops I have on my payroll? Ultimately, Bruce was being wired, and the guy gets caught by the police, and that's the whole story. And it's like, oh my god, you're writing Batman, and this is all you can do? Come on. Again, this was actually boring and a waste. This was the first lackluster story in this issue. Not recommending you read this. Kelly was actually right. Don't read her stuff, because you're just wasting her time. Read the next story, however, The Odyssey. Just look at these credits. Marv Wolfman doing the script, Emanuela Lupacino with pencils, Bill Sienkiewicz on inks, and Jordie Bellaire on colors. Absolutely great. This goes way back to 1937, where Patrick Wayne's ship, transporting a lot of treasure from Europe to the US, has a huge accident and goes to the bottom of the ocean. And nowadays, Bruce Wayne is funding a new expedition to see if they can find said ship, and it gets into this very Scooby-Doo mystery kind of story, where we do get to see what actually happened almost 100 years ago, what happens in the present day. And again, it was absolutely lovely, a great story, nothing too serious, but again, absolutely great. Definitely read this. This was actually one of my favorite stories in this entire issue. And again, just look at the people working on this. The quality continues to stay up high with Detective 26 by Grant Morrison. So, Batman's first appearance in Detective Comics 27. What was before that? So, Grant Morrison here tells us the story of the Silver Ghost. Just a guy trying his luck, being a private detective, but of course, this was Gotham City. There were a lot of private detectives. He needed to stand out. Of course, the same idea was shared by a lot of different folks. And again, just a lovely, lovely story with all that happened before Batman and with Batman's first appearance. So this was supposed to be the Silver Ghost's first case. He goes to the spot trying to fight the criminals, but Batman shows up, solves the case, and just look at absolutely great. I had so much fun with this very short story. I mean, it's just a few pages, but man, seeing this guy's whole future life just getting ended before it even began by Batman's first appearance really goes to show you the impact that he had in that issue and of course in that night. Now get ready because it's another lackluster story written by Tom King. We have Legacy and it's about Bruce Wayne dying because it's Tom King and of course it is. We have Walter Simonson on art and Laura Martin on colors and they're just being wasted on Tom King here. I understand that each and every night that Tom King goes to bed, he wishes for the long sleep. But come on, man, don't write superhero stories with that. Again, just like all of his stories from the past few years now, this is sad, pathetic, needless. And it just goes to show you that he just doesn't get it. He doesn't understand Batman. He doesn't understand superheroes. Again, it's really sad. In stark contrast to Scott Snyder's story here, Batman ending another long night with Commissioner Gordon before he gets called up by the Justice League. There's a new crisis and the sun was just gone. And this whole story is just James Gordon talking about what it must feel like being a Batman, being up there, fighting the gods and the blessed, as he calls the superheroes, and Batman being just a normal human and fighting and ultimately winning. And it was amazing. Another top contender for one of my favorite stories in this entire issue. Again, just coming after Tom King's story, for us to get this Scott Snyder again really understanding both Batman and what being a superhero is. An absolute joy to read. I'm telling you, this one, the story by Marv Wolfman, get this just for these two alone. And that's kind of it for this issue, because the final two stories act more as previews for what were things to come back then. We have here Generations Fractured, which was a part of DC's Future State story arc. It's fun looking back at these now because you think how little all of this actually mattered. I mean, they made Future State into this huge deal. 2 months, everything DC was Future State, and ultimately it didn't matter. None of this did. It was a waste. So again, don't really think too much about these last two issues. The first one, a preview to the Future State stuff, and the final story, a preview to Mariko Tamaki's run on Detective Comics. Again, that one didn't matter. When it was, again, kind of fun looking back, because when it first started, people online really bashed DC for their decision. I mean, getting Mariko Tamaki on Detective Comics, she writes kid stuff, and honestly, the start of her run wasn't all that bad. It wasn't great, of course, but it was fine. It was okay. It's just that DC botched it eventually. They just gave her way too much work. I mean, at one point, she had an issue of Detective Comics every week. And come on, guys, of course she wasn't ready for that. Of course, it ended up being an absolute mess. I mean, she had a story arc with like 12 issues, and it was so much nonsense in that. But again, that was more on DC because they really didn't know how to handle her, and it ended up being a huge mess. And that was it for my review of Detective Comics 1027. Honestly, the best one out of all of DC's anniversary issues. Yes, Kelly Sue DeConnick's story was boring, and Tom King, as always, was pathetic and sad. The final two stories acted as previews for what DC had going back then, but the rest of it absolutely amazing. Seriously, we get 8 gorgeous stories, perfectly written. Go and check it out, it's been collected in an oversized hardcover. It also has the cool variant covers, highly recommended. That was it for my video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, it really means a lot. Subscribe for more comic books videos. I have quite a few of them already. I mean, I think I've gone past 50 videos, all talking about comics. If you enjoy comic books, this is the place for you. Okay, I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.